In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to maximize fat loss, leaving you lighter, tighter, more toned, and bleeding confidence out of the ears by summer. My name is Madeline. I help thousands of women get insane transformations from home while eating tons of food. Let's go. These were supposed to be flames, but they look like poisonous clamshells. Get your pen and paper ready. I'm going to make fat loss super simple so you can get results ASAP. Now, number one, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Even I cringe at the thought of these two words because I just kind of hate them now, but it is what it is. Calorie deficit. We need to find your calorie deficit. In the description of this video is my calculator. You don't even need to enter an email. Just go do that for free. You're going to find out your calorie deficit. Now, this is going to be roughly 500 calories below your maintenance. Now, 500 calories is going to allow you to see results predictably, enough that you are motivated to keep going, but allow you to have enough food that it's easy to sustain, you feel energized, you can crush workouts, and you feel good. You're not crashing your hormones and making fat loss a lot harder than it needs to be. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Maddie, I'm going to outsmart you. You know, I want a little bit faster fat loss, so that's great and all, but I'm going to go 1,000 calorie deficit to really speed things up. If you want to crash and burn and be watching this video again in 12 weeks, wondering why you haven't lost any fat, up and down again, all over the place, hormones are all fucked, you feel like a hangry biatch, do that, okay? You're not doing yourself any favors, sis. I'm trying to help you here. Stop going to the extremes, okay? You're going to create that hamster wheel over and over again. There are reasons why going into a massive deficit is unhealthy for you, your hormones. Your cravings will be out of control. You won't be able to sustain it. If you want to see predictable fat loss, you're going to maintain that moderate deficit, which my calculator or anyone else's calculator should be giving you. Now, next up, what is most important is finding out your macros. The most important macro that we want to focus on always, but especially in fat loss, is going to be protein. Now, we want to aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal or lean body weight. Now, again, any macro calorie calculator will spit this number out for you. That's the baseline that you want to hit. If you eat over that, as long as you hit the calories, macros is underneath that. If you want to eat over that, I often do, that's totally fine. Okay, your macros can kind of vary, but you want to hit the baseline number that the calculation is going to give you. Protein is important. Number one, we are like made of protein. Protein is essential for your well-being, muscle, metabolism, and let's get real. You want to look hot and toned. That's what protein's going to do. Now, your carbs and your fats, I need you to understand this right now. They can vary, okay? Carbohydrates are important for recovery and for energy. Fats are important for your hormonal, your brain health. Be a balanced woman. You're going to include, you don't need to go keto or anything extreme like that. I know the internet is a wild place right now. Both. Depending on your favorite foods and things you eat. Some days you might have a little bit higher carbohydrates, more potatoes, you might have rice. Some days you might lean into the avocado and the eggs and you have higher fats. This can change as long as protein remains consistent, which we're going to have protein at each meal, no problem. We're going to hit that target every day. And we always remain in our calorie deficit. This can vary, okay? As you choose your meals, you're not a robot. That will vary, and that's okay. I need you to not pay too much attention to your carbs being over and your fats being over, okay? It doesn't matter. Your calories are going to dictate what you weigh, and your macros will dictate how you look and feel, okay? Protein, very important for muscle. If you don't want to look like a saggy noodle, you're going to prioritize the protein. It's going to help you stay more satiated, look more toned, hold on and preserve that muscle mass that is absolutely essential, especially in a calorie deficit. And your carbs and fats are there for your energy and your hormonal health. And we're going to get both. We're going to get all three. We're a balanced, beautiful lady. Okay, now 99% of my diet and what I like to preach is eating whole, unprocessed foods. Now, when you get your calories from processed foods, they're extremely hyper palatable. They're meant to be just like so incredibly amazing that it's very hard to control calories around them. I used to like be an absolute hoe for, you know, the Quest bars, protein cookies. You go through the health aisle at any grocery store and I was just like, you just see me there, just pimping out. I had real bad food noise and food obsession. I was never really satisfied. They also were not good for my gut, like all the artificial sweeteners, all the things. When you eat whole foods, like your carbohydrates come from a whole apple, from your protein coming from a whole, chicken breast. These things bring you way more food. You're way more satisfied. Your body's it's real food, right? It's not science. I don't really need to explain that. But I really do recommend you aim to get most of your food from whole food sources. This is going to increase the satiety from your meals by 1 billion%, which is so important if you want to adhere to the deficit. Now, if you're like, I have no idea how these meals are going to look, I have a free trial for my app. You can get meal plans, all that stuff just sorted for you. Link in the description. Okay, moving on. Number 2, do not hate me for this, but you are going to track your nutrition. Now, I am talking to the ladies that are serious about losing fat and not spinning their wheels. Tracking teaches you more about food than 99% of the world know. And my favorite part about it for women, especially on a fat loss journey, is that it closes that knowledge gap. Why am I not losing fat? I barely eat, or I eat really clean. You are going to be able to answer that for yourself. Instead of me coming on here and teaching, like trying to teach you, you will be able to see your own foods. It's very personal to you, and see the outcome, see the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Not only is it a massive learning curve, like if you just do it for 1 week, the amount you will learn is insane, but the ability to have the fast feedback loop, right? So you will punch in, say, a breakfast that you've been eating for the last year. It's one of your favorite breakfasts. You punch that in. You're like, oh my gosh, the calories are far higher than I thought they were. I don't actually stay full for long with this breakfast. And immediately the next morning, you can make changes to certain aspects of the breakfast, and you start to chip away and learn these things so you can build meals that are going to help you get towards your goals. It's a fast feedback loop. But the most important part about tracking your nutrition, since we are dead serious about looking like an absolute hot piece of ass, is that we are not hoping for fat loss, okay? We know. We know. We know at the end of every meal, every day, every week, that if somebody asked you, you know that you are in a calorie deficit. The sooner that you start to really hone in, dial in, and know all about your own nutrition, start to track it, I promise you, the sooner that you will see results. Now, little hack here. Eat similar foods. You probably think that that sounds boring, but you probably right now eat a lot of the same foods anyway. When you eat the same type of foods, you can kind of see, okay, I'm going to track for a few days. This is my favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner that I'm going to have that fits my calories and my protein, stuff like that. I'm going to eat that all week, and I'm going to just weigh it out to make sure I'm having that portion, but I'm not going to sit there and track it in my phone because I'm going to eat the same one every week, okay? There's ways around actually, putting things into a phone if that really, really bothers you, but you're going to have to get on top of it so that you can measure, so that you can become hot as fuck. Number 3, we're going to commit to a step count goal. Now, a nice blanket statement here, 10K steps is great for most people. This is going to keep movement very, very high. Now, I will say, if you're somebody who has an office job right now, you've just checked how many steps you're doing through your iPhone, Apple Health, or whatever, and you're at, say, 3K for the day. Can you add 2K and go to 5? Trying to reach 10 right off the bat is going to feel nearly impossible, and it's unnecessary because it's very individual. We all have different baselines, so to add 2K from 3 means that you are burning more calories in a day, and that is fantastic. Don't feel bad about that. Slowly, incrementally add those steps. Now, your mind plays little tricks on you when you're in a calorie deficit, and it's going to try and conserve energy. You will probably never notice it, but you're more still. And your brain might tell you, oh, I can feel that, I'm in a calorie deficit, and your activity just becomes less. This will just keep you accountable to keep movement high, okay? This keeps the metabolism high, the rate at which you burn food, burn energy, keeps that high so that as we eat in the calorie deficit, we're making sure that that gap there remains, and that our energy doesn't just come and match it and knock us out of the deficit that we're trying to work on. So if you are somebody who has a really active job, you're already reaching, 10, 12, 15 plus K steps per day, I wouldn't say go and add more steps. You are plenty active. Focusing on the calorie deficit is going to be great. You don't struggle to hit an activity level. Okay, number 4, our workouts. We are going to prioritize strength training 3 times per week. Okay, I need you to like imprint this into your brain. Train for muscle and eat for fat loss. Okay, I'll tell you a little story, and I know that a lot of women come from a similar background. I used to aim to burn the most amount of calories possible. And I actually, if from the outside, I was like the fittest person you knew, multiple hours per day of training. I'm not shitting you. It was insane. And what did that result in? Well, I looked like an absolute saggy fettuccine. I was so hungry, miserable. For the amount of training, I always felt very insecure about how I looked because I was fitter, than everyone. I was the workout, girl. But I had a body that I was just not proud of at all. I didn't look toned. I had no ass. I would gain weight very, very quickly because if I didn't maintain that amount of like calorie burn, I just gained weight really fast. Appetite through the roof. I started to lose my hair. I've even lost my cycle for 6 months. Okay, your girl's been through it. Okay, your girl's been through it. Now, please trust me with this one. If you want to have a hard, toned body and make fat loss easier for you, you're gonna do some strength training 3 times per week. If you want to work out more, you want to do 4, maybe 5, that's all good. But you don't need to do 7. It's unnecessary. So while we are in a calorie deficit, we need to do things like protein and lift weights to signal to our brain that we want to hold on to muscle. Okay, that is what's keeping the firmness in our body while we drop the body fat. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I'd actually like to lose some muscle. I used to think that as well. I'm telling you right now that you don't. And muscle is your friend, not only for fat loss and looking good, but your longevity, your metabolic health, how you age, all these things. Like, muscle is your friend, girlfriend. I'm telling you that now. Now, 3 times a week, full body training is going to be a great place to be. You don't need to sign up to the gym and be going to lift barbells and stuff like that. You can if you want to. It's not something that I personally do. You can definitely do it at home as long as you are applying adequate stress. That is what we are looking for. The bottom line here is that I don't want you to be searching for a high calorie burn with your workouts. The problem with that is that workouts that burn a ton of calories often do not build muscle. And we are already in a calorie deficit. We're eating in a calorie deficit, and we are keeping our activity high with our step count goal. So the calorie and fat loss is there. Now we want to shape, strengthen, sculpt our body with our strength training. Muscle is your fat loss, calorie deficit, hottie patottie best friend, okay? Now, if you're like, what the hell, I don't want to think, I don't know what kind of workouts, again, 7-day free trial, everything you can do from home to sculpt that shit up. Now, last but not least, we are going to commit for 12 weeks. I recommend that you commit to fat loss intervals of 12 weeks, okay? At that 12-week mark, even if you still want to continue on your fat loss journey, I recommend taking a month at maintenance so that we can rebuild the metabolism and prevent metabolic slowdown, help with that psychological relief, take a break at your new maintenance calories. This doesn't mean weight gain, okay? Weight maintenance, before we go into another phase. So you are going to crush your fat loss phase for the next 12 weeks. Now, my ladies, the goal is not perfection, okay? You will be winning if once in a blue moon you go for dinner, whatever. We're human beings, right? And you're eating over your calories for the day. Being able to get back to the program, the next meal, that is the win. You are not a robot. Things will happen. In 12 weeks, of course, you're going to be out and someone else is going to cook you dinner, or you go out and there's an occasion, whatever. That's all good. That is not worth stressing over because you can still see results. It's about what you do, the other 95% of the time. Please do not stress. We are not here to be perfect. And just know that you are winning if you can get back to business right away. No guilt, no shame, none of that. My last few points for you: no, you do not need to do any fasting. No, you do not need to run. No, you do not need any supplements, minus potentially like a whey protein powder. If you're like on the go, you find that protein smoothies or a thing of oats here and there is beneficial and helpful to you in your schedule. That is it. I need you to cut out the noise and just execute. There is nothing else that you need to learn. Execute this plan and you will be seeing results. I promise you that. There is so much out there to confuse you. The power is back in your hands. All you need to do is execute, and I'm telling you right now that you can. Prove it to yourself. You are capable of so much more than you think. Do something that's going to make you super, super proud and crush your next fat loss phase.